Hello, today we're going to talk about how to avoid the comma splice. This is one of the more typical errors I see in student writing. First things first, to splice means to join together. Keep that in mind. And an independent clause, just in case you needed a quick review, is a clause that can stand alone as a complete sentence. It's got a subject, it's got a predicate, throw in a period, and you've got a complete sentence. So let's be honest about commas for a minute. Raise your hand if you would admit that sometimes you just throw in a comma wherever you feel like maybe there should be a pause in a sentence. Well, I am here to tell you that feeling out pauses is absolutely not a reliable strategy for placing commas correctly in your writing. There really are a few rules to remember. For this presentation, I want you to think about commas like tape. If you take a look at these two images, you'll notice that a roll of Scotch tape turned on its side even looks a whole lot like a comma. So it'll be easy to remember that we're going to think of commas like tape. So here's a quick comma overview. Commas do almost magical work in the world of writing. They can separate coordinate adjectives, separate items in a list, separate introductory elements, separate apositives. The list could keep going. In all these examples, our commas work like pieces of tape to join tiny little elements of a sentence together. Let's take a closer look at the example of the tired, lonely boy. Notice here that I've swapped out the comma for a conjunction. Both commas and conjunctions can act like tape in a sentence to join different parts. So the tired, lonely boy works just as the tired and lonely boy works in these two sentences as examples. Down here, the same thing. By throwing in the conjunctions as tape, it makes the sentence a little bit wordier, but it's still grammatically correct. So tape is great for doing little jobs like joining coordinate adjectives. But what happens when we have a big job? Independent clauses give us a big job. Remember that independent clauses can stand alone as complete sentences. In fact, let's imagine that those independent clauses really want to stand alone. Take a look at these two sentences, and you let me know, are they truly independent clauses? My son doesn't like to procrastinate. He was upset when he realized the assignment was due in an hour. Ask yourself, are they independent? Can they stand alone as complete sentences? And the answer is absolutely yes. In both examples, we have subjects and predicates, and in both examples, our sentences end with periods. They are absolutely independent clauses. Now remember, our independent clauses want to stand alone, and a tiny piece of tape, like just a comma or just a conjunction, just isn't strong enough to hold together two independent clauses that really want to be on their own. So what's wrong with this sentence? My son doesn't like to procrastinate. He was upset when he realized the assignment was due in an hour. Think about it. What's wrong? Remember that an independent clause needs more than just a tiny piece of tape to hold it to another independent clause. This is a comma splice. We've got one independent clause, two independent clauses, joined together with nothing more than a comma. That comma, that little piece of tape, just isn't strong enough to pull together two independent clauses that want to be on their own. So we need a stronger adhesive to join together two independent clauses. So remember before I was telling you that often conjunctions can stand in for commas as little pieces of tape. So imagine what happens when you put a comma and a conjunction together. With two adhesives, all of a sudden we get crazy glue strength. And so we've corrected the comma splice in this example of the sentence. My son doesn't like to procrastinate, comma, so he was upset when he realized the assignment was due in an hour. Now we've got things written correctly. I've got an independent clause here, an independent clause here, and because they want to stand on their own, I know I need to join them with a super strong, crazy glue combination of both a comma and a conjunction. Let's practice. Which of these correctly combines two independent clauses? Take a moment to read these three sentences and see if you can figure out which one is correct. Did you figure it out? Here it is, color-coded. My dog doesn't like to swim. He likes to sit on the top step. Now, you'll notice here that I've color-coded our independent clauses. So we have determined that each of these sentences is made up of two independent clauses. So which one does it correctly? I hope you guessed the third sentence. This is the only one that uses both a comma and a conjunction to join the two independent clauses. Remember, those independent clauses want to stand on their own, and a tiny piece of tape like just a comma or just a conjunction isn't enough to hold them together. We need our crazy glue combination of a comma and a conjunction.